welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drew B. Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. So let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. Doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can make an amazing life in sales. Today's guest, no stranger to the journey. He sold all kinds of amazing things, and I'm sure he's got a story or two. He's my new friend, Mr. Roger Martin.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Absolutely. Excited to have you. I know you are in an area right now where you could be doing all sorts of other things, but I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to be here with us. And, I want to jump right in, man. I want to hear a crazy sales story.
Sure. So, I've spent 30 some years in sales and marketing and leadership, and I could tell you about, times where I've signed $15 million contracts. I've sold, $50,000, $60,000 or $200,000, $300,000 franchise licenses because I'm a franchisor. But I think one for your listeners that is going to be more fun is when I launched my third Rockbox Fitness studio, which is a brand I own. We had franchisees, but I was opening my own stores because they were very profitable and I loved it. We do a pre-sale to get members to join before we ever open so that you're cash flow positive. And my studio that I was building, I was the first tenant in this new building. And so there was no main electricity coming in, but no electricity to my suite. There was no heat. This was December when we were doing pre-launch for January opening. And we had no internet because it hadn't been connected to the building yet. Yet I had to getting busy selling memberships. So myself and my general manager, Jordan Manning, God bless him, we run tons of traffic, lots of ads, had plenty of leads. And, your listeners know this, calling the hell out of them, texting the hell out of them nonstop, call your damn leads, right? Call the damn leads. And so we had scheduled, I want to say 12, 13 appointments that night. And Jordan comes to the studio. He's like, dude, the only light we have is like the emergency light on the hall that we can open our doors and let that light in. And it's freezing in here. We don't have the internet to run credit cards. I said, I know, Jordan, but we don't have a choice. Like, we have to start selling now to be able to open in January. And I'll get with the electricity company. I'll get with the building, the construction company that was building the main building because it wasn't totally done, the rest of the suites. But we got to sell tonight. And so, Drewby, I kid you not, we had 11 people show out of the 13 to these appointments. And by the way, we had to get them upstairs. So we had these paper signs like, come this way. I don't know how we weren't on the GPS because the building was brand new. I don't know how anybody actually found it. And if I would have drove up to the front, I'd have been like, no way. Like, I don't know what the hell's in there. It's dark. 11 people came in. And that night in the dark, in the cold, with no internet, we sold 9 pre-launch memberships, and they gave us their credit cards, and and they got them excited for in a month we were opening, and they leave, and Jordan looks at me, he's like, how the hell did we get 9 strangers to give us their credit cards in the dark, in the cold? And I said, the only reason is passion. We believe in this so much because there's no reason they should have. There's no reason they should have. Like, every single sense they have should have been firing like, I need to get out of this place fast. These are those 2 crazy guys. What are they doing in the dark and the cold? But we ended up launching that studio with 200 and some members, and it was incredibly successful. So yeah.
Roger, there's so many different ways we could take this story, but I think the first and foremost one that I want to touch on there is, like, so many people get hung up because they think it has to be perfect before they get started. And the truth, like, the beautiful thing about that story is that in a building with no lights, no internet, paper signs directing people that clearly was out of a horror film, they still came in, they gave you their credit cards, and you made the money to do the thing. And I think that's such a testament to just trying. Just try. That is the number one. Hey, if you want to succeed, just start by trying first. And I love that story, and I appreciate that that's the one you told, because so many people out there right now, especially, are in this spot of like, I'm gonna start tomorrow or Monday, or like maybe after tax season, or in October, once I've gotten my bonus, then I'm gonna go try and do this new thing. But no. So I mean, you have this much years of experience. You've helped countless entrepreneurs and sales professionals get started over the years. Like, what do you do to help people get past that first roadblock of like, just get started?
Yeah. So, I was a sales leader with a span of control of as much as 505 people at one point
Holy
in
moly.
in the pharmaceutical industry. So that's where I built my chops and honed my chops, was in the pharma industry for 25 years in various roles and leadership positions. And so I've trained a lot, hired a lot of salespeople, trained a lot of salespeople, and then with franchising, I'm putting people into business for themselves, and they still have to do all the work. The one misnomer about franchising is, hey, I paid my franchise license and I built my studio or my store. All right, where's the ATM? That is not how business works. That is not how business works. But I would say that to stay on the same theme, it's pick up the phone and try. You are going to fail, and that is okay. Walk through that office and talk to that doctor. He is going to be rude to you, and you're going to fail. That's okay. We're going to get better the next rep. Whatever the your listeners probably come from all different industries. Whatever the industry, it is okay to go out, start, fail, self-diagnose. What was the root cause analysis there? Where did it go south? And by the way, listeners, it's always us. It's never them. It's always us. You have to look, the archer doesn't miss the target and think, oh, damn, what's wrong with the target? No, the archer looks at him or herself, and we have to be the same way. And so I have just always instilled this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be in motion. Like, you have to have entropy. You have to be going. And the more reps you get, people ask me, and I still train a ton of people, well, I'm never going to be like you. And I said, well, if you don't always have a sales book going, or human psychology book, or a great biography on a business leader that's been through hell and back. If you're not watching the right YouTube videos, listening to podcasts like this every day of your life, you're right. You probably will never be as good as I am, but you can be. It's, what do you want to dedicate to? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give to this amazing profession we call sales? If you're willing to give it everything without expecting an immediate return, but knowing you will get that return, anybody can be great at sales, really. Now, some people pick it up faster, and there's raw intelligence. There's also just personality. There's, being an extrovert, which I'm not. I'm a total introvert. I play an extrovert on TV, but I'm a total introvert.
That makes two of us, Badger.
Yeah, 100%. But it's knowing how to play that role, but the skill sets themselves, and now more than ever, I didn't have YouTube growing up. I didn't have podcasts growing up. And this is a huge benefit for a younger generation, or even somebody, that's in their 40s or 50s that wants to up level their skills. But, long-winded answer, but Drew, it's just eternal learning. Continue to hone your craft.
It was, and I appreciate that you expanded on what needed to be there, because it is a nuance, right? The thing about sales is so many people make it super complicated, but it's really not. And what's cool here, and I'm going to tie this together in a way I think you're going to appreciate, is it's like going to the gym. If you just walk into the gym with no plan and no idea of like what you're going to do, yeah, there's machines and there's all these different things that you can do. And maybe you watch somebody does something, so you try to mimic that, right? Sales is the same way. You walk into a building and you listen to the guys on the phone and you're like, oh, I like what he said. And like, all right, I like what they said. And that must not have worked because he got hung up on. So I don't want to say that,
Yeah.
right? So same kind of mentality. And what's interesting about this is the people who really truly improve in their fitness are the people who pick up a roadmap, a blueprint, a workout plan, and they follow it. And what's so fun about business, and I've had the pleasure of working with some franchise business owners over the years, is that especially in that situation, as an entrepreneur, when you buy into a franchise, they're giving you the playbook. You've
Yeah.
got all the recipes, you've got all the formulas, you've got everything that you need to be successful. The only thing you have to do is show up and trust the process. Just like you would if you went and hired a trainer at the gym and he said, all right, we're going to start with 10 minutes on the treadmill, then we're going to do burpees, and we're going to do sit-ups, and we're going to do, stretches and this. You'd go, all right, well, you're clearly the guy that I paid to teach me how to do this the right way and get the results, so let me do that. How often do you have to go to your franchise owners and remind them, hey guys, like, we've given you the playbook. if you just follow the playbook, you're going to have success.
Well, in my time zone where I'm at, because I'm traveling right now, it's 8:42. So as soon as this podcast is over, I'll be making more of those texts and calls to remind them, like every day, every day. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's so interesting because people will have the playbook. They'll know exactly what they need to do to be successful, and yet they procrastinate.
There's a
They
fear of
don't. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's a fear of rejection. It's a fear of failure, and a fear, and in sales, it's a fear of failure plus the fear of rejection. So it's kind of that double whammy. And once you can get over that fear and know that you're not going to be told yes every time, and that's not a reflection on you as a person or as a human being, that's a reflection mainly on the skill set that you have, your current skill set, and how you can continue to evolve and build on that skill set. So it's feedback, just like in the gym.
Mm.
You know, I put on too much weight to do bench press, and I can only get up 2 reps. I'm like, okay, I put a little too much weight on. That's some feedback telling me that I need to go down and wait a little bit, right? I have some more work to do before I can get to that weight. So it's the same thing with sales. Geez, I've been told no 5 times a day, 5 times in a row. My close rate's usually about 40%, 50%. So I'm doing something wrong today. Like that's valuable, really good feedback for me to take and then pivot. But if you focus on, oh my God, I've been turned down 5 times. I suck. What am I doing? Why am I in this role? Which people will spiral very quickly versus, all right, where is this going wrong? I'm getting this objection every time. Why am I getting an objection? And you just start to unwind it and put that kind of reverse jigsaw puzzle, the thing, and then you get better. But it's the fear of rejection and failure that people just put on themselves so unnecessarily. But that's our
Yeah, I think
society.
you're 100% right on that. I think there's that piece. And one of the other things that I would be curious on your perspective, since you've sold things from, $200 gym memberships to $15 million pharma contracts and these major deals. Um, what I've learned over the years is some people experience this hesitation to sell things for more money than they currently have. They sell out of their own pocket. Hey, this
100%.
program, it's going to be $25,000. And you're looking at me going like, I spend $25,000 at the club in Vegas on a weekend. Like, why, maybe that's
Yep.
not you, Roger. I don't think you're
Sure.
dropping 25 racks at the club in Vegas this weekend, but people, that's the
Yeah.
perspective. Money is just
Yep.
it's a number. How do you
Yep.
work with people to help push past that like roadblock of, man, that's a lot of money. Well, to who? How?
So that great. That is, I love that you brought that up. And in my current businesses, that is one of the bigger obstacles I have to overcome with my own people. So either my own franchisees and their staff. So I'm 2 or 3 steps removed from the person actually selling the memberships. And then I have another business called Thrive More Autopilot, which is a lead nurture company. So we help people. My franchisees, honestly, it was a pain point. And like, how do we do this? I built software and I've hired a sales team and all this to do their lead nurture for them because it was a pain point for me. But
Mm-hmm.
but even with them, the rate limiting factor is exactly what you said. I wouldn't spend more than $40 for a gym membership. So how can I sell $200 to this person or a paid in full for $2,000? I don't even have $300 in my bank account. Like, how can I ask somebody for $2,000? And to your point, I always walk them back because I've tried the whole thing of, don't sell out of your own wallet. And they can hear those words, but they don't quite. And so what I'll do is I'll reverse engineer the value. Okay, do you think it's worth $200 a month? But I want you to be 100% honest. If let's say I got a group of 10 people I'm training and, 4 will raise their hand. I'm like, I don't want anybody lying and nobody's in trouble. Like, I don't care. Raise your hand if you believe it's worth $200. Like 4 will. And then I will say, okay, if this happened before they ever showed up, the first time prospect, if this happened and you did this for the prospect and, we have this whole cadence of things they do, that makes them feel very welcome, very excited to come and all that, which doesn't always happen like it should, right? But I walk through that, and then I
Trust the
walk through
process, guys and girls.
exactly. Then I walk
Uh-huh.
through. We call it the before, during, and after. Then I walk through the during while they're in the studio, and the boxing bag has a reserve for their name on it, and they feel special. And there's a welcome sign at the front for them, and the way that we receive them, we give them a special private lesson before, so they feel comfortable. and we go through all that. And you give them a full intake and find out the real, the real why, which is true for anything in
Yep.
sales. Business to business is usually, I don't want to get fired, or I want to get promoted, or whatever, right? And consumers, just it's their emotional need. But
Yep.
and then I talk about the after, and we send a real handwritten card through snail mail, and actually gets to their house, and we have a social media post about them. And I take them through the whole thing, and I say, and that has to happen every single time. Is it now worth $200? And all 10 will raise their hand. I said, and then I look at them and I say, so really, we control the value of what it's worth, not the market, not the prospect's mind. We control the value of what this is worth, this experience is worth. Do you agree with that? And 10 out of 10 will say, yeah. And you kind of see this epiphany of, well, if we do it the way we're supposed to do it, this is totally worth $200, And now, do they do it when they leave the training? I don't know. A lot of times, no. But that I've found that's been the most successful, because I've tried the don't sell to your own wallet, and these people have money, and look, they have a Louis Vuitton purse that's $3,500, and still in their mind they have that wall. And so when I break that wall down by talking about, would you pay $200 for if you could have this whole experience every single time? Yeah. Well, then give that experience every single time and charge $200.
A friggin' man. That is a masterclass on true service-based sales. And this is the one thing that I think so many people forget about. And maybe it's part of, again, going back to that belief in the product or service. I mean, I'm a person that I wholeheartedly believe if you can't be using or proud to be a part of the thing that you're selling, you probably shouldn't be selling it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not willing to use and put your life on the line for the product that you're representing, in my opinion, you're doing a disservice to everyone. That's just my opinion. Everyone looks differently, right? But hey, listen, if you wouldn't use the thing that you're selling me right now, then I won't want to buy it from you. And again, not that everyone that you do as a franchisee should be a member of the gym that you got. Like, I understand that everyone has preferences, but in my opinion, that energy, that transfer of belief, that happens right away.
Agreed.
The moment you open your mouth and start the conversation, that person knows whether or not you're selling them or you're serving them. And when you focus on service, as you said, and you do it that way where someone truly feels appreciated and heard, and as if someone went out of their way to treat them better than anyone else in their life has probably recently treated them, then sales is easy.
Listeners, if you're listening, you can't see this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. I'm literally writing down what he just said, because I'm going to steal that, brother. The moment you open your mouth, they can tell if you're selling them or servicing them. I love that. That is so true, because we have a sixth sense. We all have, our ancestors survived millions of years because they could feel a situation, and people can feel this isn't right. Something's off on this, versus, wow, this person's really trying to help me. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And feel free to swipe it. That's why we do these things, so that we can give away all the gems and the wisdom, because I didn't come up with that idea. I learned it from someone who mentored me along the way and probably said something very similar. And what's so interesting is that again, this is why I love sales, because you can be from any background, any personality, and you need some people that are a little more on the pushy, like, hey, we need to hard close this. You got to do something. And I think there are people who need to be sold in that fashion. And also, there are people who genuinely just want to be appreciated and heard and feel like you can help them solve their problem. That's all.
Agreed.
It's not as complicated as people make it. What happens, though, is, as you said, we are often the biggest roadblock in this whole equation of things. And that's why the mindset and the focus and the practice, and really just remembering, hey, if you were on the other side of this table right now, would you buy this? And as you said, Roger, it's easy initially for a lot of those people when they come in, because they haven't had the experience yet, or they don't truly believe that the person who's bought it is going to get that experience. And that's the key to bringing it all together, in my opinion.
Completely agree.
Listen, man, I know we could probably sit here and nerd out on like sales and follow up and all of this stuff for hours and hours and hours. But I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're in the middle of an event in Vegas and you've got a million other things you could be doing, and you took the time to be here. So truly grateful for that.
My
What's the
pleasure.
best way for us to come and find more about you and your franchises and what you guys do?
Yeah. Yeah, two easy ways. If people are interested in, because we built a digital marketing agency, so we can generate leads. Then we have a lead nurture system, which includes AI software that's custom built, and then also human beings, because you still need human beings to do this. AI is
Amen.
not there yet, and then we have some other programs after that as well, just to help them. And when I say them, anybody that is in the health, wellness, med spa, brick and mortar type business, I know I can help them because I've had franchises in different of those different modalities. If you're a fencing company or a roofer, hopefully you enjoy this podcast, but I don't have services that can help you, right? And Drewby probably does. But if you're in that brick and mortar health and wellness, could be fitness, could be infrared sauna, could be recovery, whatever. Our company, Thrive More Autopilot, and you just go to thrivemore.ai. So thrivemore.ai, and it just tells you all about what we do. And then if you're really interested in franchising or just want to understand more about it, I have a podcast as well, and a book that I've written. You can go to thrivemoorebrands.com and kind of see the whole overarching umbrella of things. But if you're interested in actually, getting some help with your advertising, getting help with lead nurture, getting them through your front door, just go to thrivemore.ai.
You got it, Roger. And I'll make sure we put all those down in the show
Cool.
notes because, these all are great. And I know whoever's listened to this today has been like, holy smokes, I got a lot of stuff to figure out. I got a lot of things to work on. So I appreciate that. And again, we'll make sure everybody knows how to find you because I'm excited to learn more about what you do. It's been fun getting a chance to connect with you.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about a podcast like this or even just being in the sales industry is you never know who you can meet. You never know who you can learn from. And if you're willing to, listen and hear what people are saying, they're probably going to coach you on how to go out and create a very successful life. So before we get out of here, I always
Yeah.
like to leave with one last question. The cool
Sure.
thing about sales is there's someone new joining every day, always an opportunity to be found. And I'm hopeful that one listener, this is like they're new to sales and this is the first podcast they're ever listening to on trying to get better, which they're going to be blessed if this is it. But if you could give them one piece of advice on how to be successful in sales, what would you tell
You asked for one answer, but I'm forced to give you two because it's two-part. One is subscribe and follow this podcast that you're listening to right now, because that is how you start to learn the skills, right? So subscribe to this podcast. Watch the YouTube. Don't watch the crap on YouTube. Watch the really high value stuff, because if you sift through that, you're going to find MBA level, PhD level courses on sales and persuasion and NLP and all these things that can help you not only have better success at sales, but better in your relationships, better in the way you converse with people. You'll just be a better communicator. So definitely, like podcasts like this, and always have a book going. And I do a lot of fun things in my free time too. So I don't just nerd out the whole time, but I definitely dedicate specific time to that. So if you want to get better and you're listening to this, that's how you start. The second thing is 95% of people quit right before they're about to have great success. And sales, more than anything, is just start. Like you started this podcast off with, just start, get the momentum, but don't quit. Everyone will quit. Everyone will quit. And I'll finish with a 60-second less story. I'm driving my son, who lives in Los Angeles. He's 21, lives in Los Angeles. He's chasing the music dream. And we live in North Carolina. He moved out there when he turned 18 and hasn't come home. And he's chasing the music dream. And he visited, and I was driving back to the airport, and he goes, Dad, it's hard. I said, I know it is, son. I said, but you just can't quit. You need to keep putting music out, keep getting more streams, keep showing up at shows, keep networking, because all these other kids from Iowa and Chicago and Florida that are out there with you, that you've gotten to know, they're going to get tired and they're going to get worn out and they're going to move back home. And at the end of this whole thing, you'll be the last man standing. And by default, you'll win and get the success you need and you want and you deserve, because everyone else will quit. It's the law of attrition. And so if you want to be an amazing salesperson, follow the advice I gave my own son. Don't quit. Just keep going, because enough people won't listen to this podcast. They won't read the books. They won't do the right YouTube videos. They won't buy the right courses, and they'll give up and say, it's too hard, or sales is BS, or what. And if you keep going, by default, you will get the customers, you will get the contracts, you will get the success. And I know that sounds so cliche, but I'm probably older than most listeners of this podcast, and I'm here to tell you it's true. It's like the universal law in the world.
Roger, that is a fantastic story and one that I 100% agree with and believe in, and would tell my son the same thing. Don't quit. Showing up and being there is 95% of the battle.
Yes,
the rest of it is just going through the work and trusting the process. And so if you guys enjoyed the show today and you got some value out of this, make sure you go check out Roger, follow all his stuff, check out their brands. If you need help with marketing, if you want to learn about franchises, we're going to put all the links down there below. And if you have a story about never quitting, about being in sales and showing up and doing the things and going through that hard time and coming out the other side successful, I want you to be on the show. I need you to go to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your info. Tell us your story. Let's put it out here. As Roger said, this podcast is not here to like sell you a bunch of stuff. We're here to share value. We're here to help you get better, because we know that ultimately, if you improve your life, if you learn one thing from this show, and then you share it with someone else, and they learn and they share, and we continue to put this message out there, someone's going to go do the work. Someone's going to show up. And I hope that someone is you. And if that's you, head over to the store, send us your information. Let's get you on the show. I'll see you guys on the next one. You know what to do from here. Go call those damn leads. We'll see you next time.